standard on which to judge it by. So to go through that, it kind of asks you just a few questions. Ashley, if you think you're a good person, I guess, how many lies do you think you told in your life?
A bunch.
What do you call someone who tells lies?
A liar.
A liar, okay.
I guess then it goes to what is a good person. It's all relative. It's up to your own definition.
See, that's the thing. It's these things ring true. This is a standard. So it's a 10-step standard. Basically, you've probably heard of it called the 10 Commandments.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so they're basic and they're simple, but they also ring true with your conscience. Because I can ask anybody whether they've ever heard the 10 Commandments or not. Think it's a good thing to tell lies? No. I mean, it says just like it also says you shall not commit murder. Nobody comes up and says, yeah, it's good to murder, because those things, even though they're a thing that's a legal thing,
it's a moral code.
It's a moral, but it's written on our conscience. And what makes that interesting is that those are the things that are given to us by God. God wrote those down and said, these are my moral codes, that you follow these. And he gave them to us to show us, not to try to keep them to show that we're good, but to show us that we can't keep them because inherently we're not good. That's what the Bible talks about. It says that from the beginning, Adam and Eve, they came, they were given one command: go out, don't eat the fruit. They ate the fruit, sinned, rebellion, and then they die because of that sin. And so we all have this sin nature that's been passed on from. That's why we all die. So what the Bible says, Ashlyn, is that actually there are no good people. There is nobody good, and it actually says there's none righteous, no, not one. So the issue is that if we're not good and we break all those commandments, if I ran through the 10 Commandments, I know I've broken them all. I mean, I'm sure you probably broke them all too. When we look under God's thing, if we've ever lied, we're a liar. If we've ever taken anything wrong, we're a thief. If we've ever, been hateful toward, Jesus even said, you don't have to murder somebody. He said, if you get hateful towards somebody, you commit a murder against them in your heart. And so, and that makes sense, because that's how in a legal thing, you don't ever commit a murder without having hateful thoughts first. And God says, I kind of see where your heart rumination is before you even go there. So all those things work out to where we understand when we look at God's law, when we judge it by His standard, we find out we're not good, we're actually bad. And if we're bad, then there's a good and a bad. So the good would go to heaven. The problem is none of us are good. And most people look at it, and I think what you're probably getting at is most people try to look at a moral standard of there's some kind of a scale, kind of like the scales of justice, kind of a, if I can tip the 51-49 thing, I'm basically a 60-40 good person versus bad, that God will look at me and go, yeah, you were good enough to get into heaven. But the problem is that none of us are good, because everything we do outside of glorifying Him is selfish and for our own purposes. And if we don't give glory to Him, the one who created us, who gives us life, who gives us eyes to see, breath to breathe, knows all the wonderful things we have, well, if we just say, it's not worth looking to know you, not worth finding out about you, not worth following you, when He's made it clear that His rules are there, they're in your conscience, and written on your heart, the tablets of your heart, then, and the Bible actually says that all people know there's a God deep down, because creation reveals that there is, and there's without excuse. So when you sit there and you recognize there is a God, there is a purpose, then if He calls you to follow Him, it does come down to that. It doesn't come down to accepting Him. That's a popular myth, actually, because you don't ever find anywhere in the Bible where Jesus says you can accept Him. But you do see in the Bible where He says you have to repent, turn from your sins, and follow me. He says, pick up the cross, follow me. He says, I'm taking you up a narrow, difficult road, but it's to everlasting life. Because He says, I went to the cross. And see, He took the cross on Himself, went to that hill, and paid the penalty for sinners. And once you recognize when you've broken His laws, and like you said, you admit you're a liar, you take sin, admit you're a thief, that means you're not a good person, that means you're a bad person. And once you're willing to admit that, and humble yourself, Ashley, then you can come in and say, yeah, I recognize I am bad, and I need that forgiveness. And that's what Jesus came to offer. He came born of a virgin, literally born in a barn, God come in the flesh, lived the perfect life none of us could live, never broke one law, never sinned one time. And then He went on a cross, and He hung there, and He died after being tortured and nailed there, and He said, it's finished, the work's done. And He said that anybody who comes to me, when He was preaching, He told me, anyone who come to me, I'll never cast them out. So He says, come to me, all you who are weary or heavy laden, I'll give you rest. And if you work through your life trying to follow some kind of a religious code, whether it's a religious system, whether it's your own personal kind of setup, how you're just trying to kind of figure these things out, and like you kind of said, just trying to figure out being a good person, you're laying on a burden of yourself of trying to impress God, trying to tip a scale to Him that unfortunately He said you can't tip. You can't make it to me and make me impress me, because everything you do is bad, because you don't do it to glorify me. And we come out, that's why we give people gospels, that's why we share these things, because we want people to know there is a God. He has given a law, He has said that we've fallen short. He doesn't want us to join a religious system. He wants us to turn from those dead works that trying to impress God and say, you can't blackmail me. You can't impress me with your good works. They're not good anyway. The Bible says there's filthy rags in light of his righteousness. So we have to come to him and say, yeah, I need forgiveness. And if you'll do that, if you'll come to Christ and say, Lord, please forgive me. I want to follow you. He'll forgive you. He'll wash away your sins. He'll give you eternal life. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard that, and my family's a little bit religious, so they just kind of leave it up to me, you know, whatever I want to do, which I respect.
Everybody's got to do that. It's between you and God. Ultimately, it's always between you and God. You've got to make that, you know, study and research, and you've got to come to understanding yourself and figure that out. And that's what we're giving the information, giving books, giving gospels.
Thank you. I actually have class there.
Yes. Well, thanks for stopping and talking, Ashley. God bless you. See you,
Have
Jack.
a blessed
Okay,
day.
I did some,
Okay.
and it's what you need to do. You need to call this number here and get permission.
Is that her?
Yes, this
That's
is
the person.
Yes.
Okay.
And so until you get permission, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Okay.
Yep.
So she's not going to come out. She just tell her to
Well,
run us off for now.
she's in a meeting right
Okay.
now, but she's
Okay, so she's in a meeting.
right.
Okay.
So, you know, you're probably going to be more than welcome next time, but for right now, I got to do this.
Okay. We will. I'll get a hold of her and
Right.
let her know what's going on. See what's going on.
Be-
Okay.
because-
So call this number and talk to her. That goes right to her office.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. And what's your name?
Dan McCall.
Dan McCall. Mason. Goodnight.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Dan. Thanks for.
But you know, it's just one of them deals I got to do.
I
And,
understand. You're doing your job. Again, not
Right.
holding anything against you. We
Right.
will make sure to talk to the lady that
Right.
runs this thing. And thanks for letting me finish the conversation.
right. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Hey,
You know.
I appreciate you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dan.
You
Good
bet.
job.
Okay.
How you doing, sir? We're packing
Doing
up, but I can
well.
talk to you while
That
you're.
figures.
What's that?
That figures. Yeah, I figured that would happen. One more. Just because.
Sure. There you go. Good man. So where you go to church?
I was in Church of Christ with Ensemble guy.
Oh, are you?
Also a
Cool.
youth group leader.
Awesome. What's your name?
Jeffrey Miller.
Miller. Mason. Goodnight. Good to meet you, Jeffrey.
Nice to
I'm
meet
gonna see
you.
if I got
What's
a
inside their heart,
Yeah.
okay? What's inside their heart is their greed. They
Yeah.
care. They live as if the world revolves around them, okay? And that's the problem with humanity. Humanity's problem is that we're selfish.
Yeah.
Is that we will seek to please ourselves at the expense of other people.
Right. And yet we're still creating God's image.
Right.
And does that mean that does God want to destroy the environment? If we're all made in God's image, I
Right.
personally
Okay. This is the thing. Is that I believe that the image that God originally created us has been marred and destroyed by sin. Because God created us with free will, and we chose to sin against God. And as a result of choosing to sin, we have become corrupt.
What's an example of sin that you are talking about?
Well, we'll start. One is I would say greed is a good one. I'd go through the 10 Commandments with you. Have you ever lied?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that Bible says that we shouldn't lie, okay? Because we should honestly tell the truth. Like what you're saying, these corporations, they're lying, they're deceiving people. Like Monsanto, you know, like one example is that they want to basically sell seeds to these third world countries like in India and stuff like that. And then those seeds basically take a lot of fertilizer, they take a lot of water.
Right.
And those sites that they're already using don't take the fertilizer and the water
Right.
because they're for that area. And so they become indebted to Monsanto to buy their fertilizer, buy their
Yeah.
seeds because they're sterile.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know what
glad.
saying?
I'm glad I live in Oregon that I have access to a territorial seed company because they're not GMO. They're not.
I like territorial seeds. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to say is that we don't want to lie. You say you lied, and I'm saying lying's bad. I bring up an example about the deception of these corporations. Lying's bad. God says lying's bad. The Bible says also you shouldn't steal. We shouldn't steal. That Monsanto does that, or these corporations do that. Have you ever stolen?
Actually, the last time I stole, I was 10, and I think it was a tea bag out of a coffee shop. So honestly, I don't think I've. Oh, okay. I've stolen music and movies. I've pirated. So.
Okay. So you lied, you stole. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing the Bible says is that we should not commit adultery, and that if man, Jesus said that if a man looks upon a woman to lust for her, he's already committed adultery in his heart. Have you ever done that?
Adultery or lust?
Jesus says if a man looks upon a woman to lust after her, he's already committed adultery in his heart. So God says we shouldn't commit adultery. We
But
should
I say it's a biological thing. Like I see that woman, she's gorgeous, and to me, my brain makes the association that that's the kind of thing that I want to see, and then it gets my hormones going. So I see it as not necessarily like, I don't see it as a sin.
Well, what I'm saying is, it's to look on her with lust. It's one thing to admire.
Right.
It's one thing to admire. I mean, that's what you. I agree with you. It's natural. It's the man. We admire beauty, but to look on her with lust, as if like you're fantasizing about having sex with her, that's adultery. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been adultery. Okay. Then the Bible says thou shalt not murder. Okay.
I have not murdered. That's good. Thank
But
God.
it also says that he who hates his brother without a cause is a murderer. No murderer has eternal life, not either. So we've. You've done that?
Which?
Have you been hated someone unjustly, been angry about it, and wish you'd killed? So that you're striking out.
I know.
This world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen.
All these suited guys are up here at the big debate,
even in eternal
national
power
debate
and
thing
God,
going on up here.
so they
Up
are
here,
without
man.
excuse.
Debating with us a
Because
little bit.
although they
Mark.
knew God, they did not glorify Him
Having a
as
good,
God,
probably 30
nor were
minute
they
conversation
thankful,
or so
but
with
became
these guys.
futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the incorruptible God into the image made like corruptible man, birds, four-footed animals, and creeping things. Therefore God gave them up the uncleanness of their lusts of their hearts to dishonor their bodies among them. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie and worshiped and served the creation rather than the Creator who is blessed forever. Okay, that's God's view of history that goes on from there. But so the religions of the world God looks at is not true religion, but is in violation of not acknowledging God. It's turning your back upon God and suppressing the truth and making up your own religions to please yourself. It's so that you can justify your behavior.
But a lot of, I feel like Christianity does that also.
There's people who do that.
A lot of people who profess to be true Christians are
Well,
not.
that's true. There's hypocrites in everything.
Right.
There's people who profess something who are not.
Basically that same thing, saying that other religions are just a kind of like, are a kind of contradiction of, or not of like a corruption of the true.
Right.
Of the truth. Other
Yes.
religions also say that.
That's correct. So how do you determine which is right, which is wrong?
Right.
That's the inner progression of our conversation.